Hey guys, always Dizzy here. I am going to discuss my round two game from the 2024 New Year's Open. I just actually finished recording the round one, but I had everything set up here. It takes a while to set all of this stuff up. You'd be surprised. So I'm going to make a couple of recordings at the same time. But I just finished like a 50-minute recording, so my voice might be a little hoarse by the end of this. As a reminder, and if you haven't seen it yet, you should watch round one first. But I had just finished playing a 2200 in round one, which I lost. I thought I played quite well for the first half, but then I started to make a few mistakes. So round two, I had time to grab a very quick lunch, and then I had round two. I was paired up against Martin Lawrence, the comedian. No, I'm sure he's tired of hearing that, but can't help but think about it when you hear his name, Martin Lawrence. Tall guy, big guy. One of the only other players from the island. He's from a different city than me, but yeah, he's from the island as well, so he traveled to get there. There might be maybe one other person from the island that went to this tournament. He was rated 1406, but ratings don't really mean a whole lot these days, especially from my neck of the woods. So he's rated 1400, but he could be 2000, right? Who knows these days? I guess I'll just show a couple more photos from the event, just to, I don't know, make things interesting. So this was the organizer and arbiter, Ryan Leong. I actually have a couple videos of myself playing Ryan from past tournaments, but now he's starting to organize and run his own tournaments. I appreciate, like, he reached out to me several times. He messaged me. He messaged me through online chat, and just he thanked me for coming to the event. He appreciated that it came from the island. He recognizes that it's expensive to do so and takes time traveling. So I appreciated that because other organizers don't do that, and it was definitely appreciated. And throughout the event, he came up to me and just like asked me how I'm doing, how do I like the event, do I have any suggestions, and so forth. So I really liked that personal approach that he took to things, and he was kind of like Robert De Niro in the movie Casino. He's just kind of like walking around and like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, and he's like, hey, and just I don't know. It's nice to see, and a couple of blurry photos from the tournament. I didn't take these photos. That's why they're blurry. For some reason, these are very low quality photos, but from the tournament hall, there was only this one hall where all the games were played. There were something like 45 tables set up, plenty of room. It was held in a church. The boards were really nice. They were I don't mean the chess boards. I mean the tables were very nice, very thick, and didn't shake too much. Chairs were comfortable. It was quiet. Very nice playing venue. Here's another shot. And a photo of me playing chess. There was a photographer who was kind enough to take photos of the event, and I got a couple of photos of myself playing, and I can use that for some profile shots. Okay, let me get rid of that. Boom. Nope, you still see it. Boom, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at the game. So he plays e4, c5, d4. Wow. So while technically not the Smith-Morra yet, we can assume that this will be the Smith-Morra. In fact, let's just put a couple more moves on the board. It was a Smith-Morra. So this was, I don't know if surprising is a word, but this was interesting. this was actually my first time playing the Smith Morra in a tournament. It's kind of hard to believe, right? Like I accept the Smith Morra, but this is the first time I've faced it in a tournament. I faced it online countless times, but hard to believe. Very hard to believe you've never seen it. I've never seen it in a tournament before, so that's interesting. And I think that a tournament. This is a really kind of fun opening to play in a tournament, just because it's so sharp, and it's never boring. It's never boring, and then you have time to think. Playing it online, it's hard to play as black because you don't have time to calculate. But in a tournament, you do have time to calculate. So, yeah, I was actually kind of happy to see it. It was going to make for a fun game. So this is all theory, right? Black gives up a pawn for rapid development. It's a very dangerous opening for black to have to defend. But if black does defend, black is just up a pawn. Knight c6, knight f3, e6. D6 is also another line that can be played, but I play e6. Bishop c4, a6. We're both just whipping out moves here. This is all theory, right? Castles, b5, bishop b3, knight a5. Again, all theory. This isn't so common. The way I'm playing this isn't so common, but part of my own personal theory. And he plays bishop f4. So this is slightly unusual. I've seen this before, of course. There's so many different moves you can play as white in the Smith Morra and different move orders. The most common here is bishop c2. If you guys can't, I don't know why I do this, because I assume all my readers can follow my annotation. So yeah, bishop c2, just preserving the bishop is more common, but bishop f4 is fine as well. I took the bishop. You don't have to take the bishop. You can also play, I think, bishop b7 here. But I took the bishop. He takes with a queen to prevent double pawns. Then I played bishop b7. Plays rook fe1. Can't remember if this was an inaccuracy or not. I didn't put that in my annotations here, so I'm guessing it wasn't. But more common is for white to, and more thematic is for white to put a rook on d1, putting pressure on the d file. But I guess this was fine too, because I didn't mark it as, I didn't put any notes that it wasn't. I played knight f6. So all very straightforward, standard type moves in the Smith Morra for both sides. And I had a hunch here that my opponent, I could smell it in the air that he was thinking of knight d5, which is another thematic idea in the Smith Morra. And lo and behold, he played knight d5. So time-wise, my opponent has 44. Whoa, where did I? Yeah, okay, yeah. So my opponent has 44 minutes. Then I was at 43 minutes here. Then, so to understand my next move, you need to remember where I was in the tournament. You need to remember that I had no sleep. I slept for 2 hours the night before in my Airbnb. I was up all night with a terrible stomachache. I woke up at 2 a.m. and this was my second game in the day. I had already just finished playing round 1, and then this was round 2, and I had no sleep. I wasn't sick, but I had like a sore throat, and I had no sleep. despite that, I like round one. I think even though I made some mistakes, I was actually feeling pretty good during the game. At least I thought I was. But then my next move, you could tell that I wasn't all there, because I would never have played this online. And I don't know why I missed all of these obvious moves. So I spent 10 minutes on my next move, which is an extraordinarily large amount of time, because this is a 15-minute time control. It was 10-second increment. So I spent 20% of my starting time on the next move. And I played d6. And yeah, my notes here say this was one of the worst moves I made in the whole tournament. Not from an evaluation point of view, but because I simply couldn't see the obvious right in front of my eyes. So I had multiple ways to deal with this. So first of all, I did not need to spend 10 minutes. Secondly, there were better alternatives. So the issue here is, first of all, obviously I can't take the knight, because after e takes d6, I'll just put that on the board to show. There's a discovered check, right? So after I block the check, then there is d6. So we can't take the knight. I will mention, though, for viewers, in most cases, you actually can take the knight. You always have to calculate it every time. But often, and more often than not, you can actually take the knight. But in this case, we can't. Not with the pawn. The other threat here is the c7 square. And so I don't know why. I didn't see it. It's so obvious now. Again, I don't know what was going on in my head, but I could just play rook c8. I can just play rook c8, and then there's no threats on c7. And then there was also, I can go knight takes d5, which I looked at this. So first of all, the rook c8, I just never even considered for the whole 10 minutes I was thinking. I obviously considered knight d5. What I didn't like about it, or what steered me away from it, was that after after e takes d5, I didn't know what my follow-up was, because if I can't take with the bishop, because then I lose the bishop after queen takes d5. And then I'll put it, the arrows are annoying in chess base, so I'll just make the moves. So here I can't take, because we're going to lose the bishop. And if we don't take the pawn, then I looked at bishop e7, but then I didn't like d6. Although I think this was actually okay for black. Computer said it was okay. I mean, we are up a pawn. But what I didn't consider here was that I could have just played bishop c5, getting outside of the pawn chain. So I could have just played bishop c5. I didn't consider that. I think there was even another option. Checking my notes here. Yeah, and you can even just take with the bishop. Same thing. We can go bishop c5, I believe. So I don't know. I was seeing ghosts here, and I ended up playing d6. And we just had better options than d6, and it did not need a 10-minute think. So my opponent took on f6, and I played queen takes f6. So this was, I'm reading my notes here, this was probably the most surprising evaluation for a move, for any move in the whole tournament that I played. Now what's interesting is I actually did think in this position for a couple of minutes. I didn't automatically just take with the queen. I did consider g takes f6, and the reason I considered it is because I thought if it took with my queen, that my queen might be a little bit out of play, kind of segregated on the king side there. But I didn't think it would be that big of a problem. At least I thought that if I took with the G pawn, it was maybe a little bit too unclear, and so I kind of got a little bit nervous of that. But yeah, the evaluation difference between G takes F6, which is the best move by far, and Queen takes F6 is enormous. I think it was -2. I think Queen takes F6. I'll put on the engine here. I think it was -2 though. I mean, sorry, +2. +2. Yeah, it's +2. It's about +2, which is amazing because there's nothing. Oh well, there is an issue. So G takes F6 was the best move. Now the problem here, and you might want to pause the video and see if you can find the issue. So the problem, which I did not see obviously, was White can continue with as he did in the game, Bishop G5. We only really have one move here, Queen G6, and then my opponent played Queen E3. Now what I had missed is, and I want to make sure I do the right one. Yeah, so what I missed here was specifically the move Rook AC1, that rook specifically. And we're in trouble here because White is threatening to infiltrate on via C7, and this bishop on B7 is awkward. And how do we continue here? White has a lot of play. I don't have the engine on, so I'm just thinking here. If we ignore it, let's just say we ignore it, then we're just going to lose the bishop on B7 because of Rook C7. And if we try to contest it, this is what I was thinking about. I'm guessing White would trade, and then maybe, oh, I guess he can't do that, but then maybe, how do we get rid of that? And then, maybe bring in the queen. But this is all, there's already a mate's threat here. We might have F6. I'm actually just going to put on the engine to confirm my ideas here. Yeah, this is +2. I mean, so well, there's Queen B8 check. Queen D8. Okay, just attacking the bishop, and then yeah, this is really awkward. So I'm going to turn off the engine. Not just awkward, it's bad for black. So yeah, just Rook AC1, and then it's +2. It's lost basically. So very surprising eval here. Well, I mean, it's surprising and it's not surprising, but it's unexpected that yeah, Queen takes F6 is just losing because of Bishop G6. Queen gets out of place, and then Rook C1, Rook AC1. Jeez, that's tough. But my opponent didn't see it either. I mean, it's not the most obvious thing to see. And so he played Queen E3, protecting his. It's kind of a strange move though. Like the Queen E3 is kind of strange. Oh, no. It makes sense. Yeah. So he wanted to infiltrate with the queen to B6, which is a good idea, but Rook AC1 would have added an inactive piece into the battle, would have been much better. I played Bishop E7, trying to untangle and castle, and we traded. Knight D4. He brings in another active piece. Rook HD8, just protecting the D pawn, and then having ways to protect against infiltration points. Whoops, did not mean to do that. I think there was also a tactic here that I had to defend the D pawn. I forget what it was. There was some reason, but in any case, yeah, I played rook h8. Now he plays rook ac1. I played king d7. So just to give a context of time, my opponent had 26 minutes. I was down to 19. Because remember, I spent 10 minutes on that d6 move earlier. Okay, so my opponent played f3, just solidifying everything and shutting down my bishop. Played rook c8, knight b3, and yeah, so here I played queen f6, and just reading my notes, so I knew for a long time that my queen needed to get back into the game. I knew it was kind of offside here, and so I ended up prioritizing getting my queen back into the game over preventing white from continuing to harass me on the queen side. So the best move here, instead of queen f6, was actually trading rooks. But what even with the best move, white still gets to harass me on the queen side regardless. So it's kind of a tough point in the game here. My opponent played queen b6. Again, there was nothing I could have really done about it. I played bishop a8. So if he takes the a6 pawn, there I do have like queen b2 threats. But then he takes with check, right? Yeah, it's not pretty. But I am up a pawn to begin with, so I think that would have been okay, right? We are up a pawn right now because of the opening, the gambit. Whoops, come on, chess base, work with me. Okay, he plays rook ed1. I trade rooks. He has to take with the knight, otherwise again I can take on b2. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, but there is a reason why he can't take with the rook. There was, at least I remember thinking there was. Let me turn on the engine to refresh my memory. I thought he couldn't take with the rook. Oh, wait, what? No, taking with the rook is the best move. For some reason, I thought he couldn't. But yeah, he should have just taken with the rook, and then he's hitting c7. So that's kind of weird. Both my opponent and I had mutual, like, blindness on that. Okay. So he takes with the knight. And that's why. No, wait. Yeah. That's why. Sorry. So I think the computer says that taking with the rook is the better move. I don't know why I didn't catch that before though. Let me just open up the engine one more time just to confirm that. Yeah, it prefers rook takes c1 here, but I thought he couldn't because I thought then. No, I don't know. I don't know. I saw some weird ghost. Yeah, that's strange. Okay, weird. But my opponent saw the same thing because he took with the knight, and I thought he had to take with the knight. So I don't know. I forget what I saw. I played d5, right? Because he's attacking d6 with the rook and the queen. Maybe it's just as simple as that. That I thought he had to take with the rook because, no, I don't know. I don't know why I can't remember. But he took with the knight. I played d5, and he played knight d3. So knight d3, when he played it, I thought, I don't know. My spidey sense went off, and I thought, that might be a mistake. And so I had briefly calculated and considered taking the pawn, allowing white to give a discovered check. But because I was down to 7 minutes, I wasn't able to calculate it fully. And I kind of got scared and abandoned the idea. It was purely a time-based decision. In the game, I played king e8, which is a blunder. And it turns out that knight d3 was a blunder, so my instincts were correct. And I should have taken the pawn because white has no good discoveries. After knight e5 check, we can simply just go king e8, and we just won a pawn and opened up our light squared bishop. And black is much better here. I think even winning. Well, I think winning, but is it easily winning? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, it was just because I was low in the clock. Like, what move was this? 24. I mean, I had 7 minutes. I probably should have invested another 1 or 2 minutes into it, because I probably would have played it had I spent a little bit more time just verifying this. Because again, I sensed something here and I considered it, and then I didn't go for it. I guess I thought I could move the king first and then play it. Maybe that's why I abandoned it. But in any case, I played king e8. So that's probably what I thought. I probably thought, I don't have time to calculate this fully. I'll play king 8 first, and then I can just take on e4. But the problem there is what my opponent played, which was e5. I played queen g5. So threatening... Well, it kind of just ties my opponent down, because if he moves the queen, then I can get active with my queen. If he moves the knight, I can take on e5. If he plays f4... Come on, arrows. If he plays f4... I thought he couldn't play f4 for some reason. I think I just thought if he plays f4, he's weakening his light squares, and I can play something like queen g4, and then I'm threatening d4 with mates on g2. So, yeah, he took on a6 here. I give a check. King f1. So despite white taking the pawn on a6, we have material balance here, because I was up a pawn again from the opening gambit. So I didn't, he regained his pawn. I'm actually not down a pawn here. I played rook b8, defending my b5 pawn. Queen a3. Rook c8, just going on an open file. Queen b3. I think we were quite low at this point. Yeah, we're down to 3 minutes each. I played rook b8, queen c3, and queen b6. So at this point, my opponent had 2 minutes, and I was down to 1 minute. So there is a rule, and I forget the specifics, but because the increment is so low, and I think the rule might be if it's below 30 seconds, but because the increment is only 10 seconds, once you get down to 5 minutes or lower on the clock, you are not required to record your moves anymore. So this is actually as far as the game recording goes. Because I was down to a minute, I didn't want to keep recording at that point. And I have a bad bishop. I had to really focus here. Yeah, no time to record. So I had 1 minute. My opponent had 2 minutes. What ended up happening is we played a lot more moves, and it ended up becoming the queens and the rooks got traded off, and then it was a bishop versus knight endgame. And if I had to recall, it was probably a draw. There were pawns on both sides, so that favors the bishop a little bit. I might have overpressed a little bit trying for a win, but then I ended up losing. So without the game being recorded, I can't really say exactly what transpired, but yeah, probably it was a draw. But then I just probably I overpressed slightly. In any case, I ended up losing. So that was harsh. At this point, I lost my first 2 games in the tournament. First game I was expected to lose against a 2200, so that's okay. But then the second game I'm playing down, right? I'm playing a 1406. And so to draw would have been unsatisfying, but to lose felt really bad. That really hurts my rating. And also I felt that I was better for out of the middle game, because I was up a pawn, but then I don't know, things happened. So yeah, kind of frustrating. So to recap things for this game, first of all, I had some brain fart when I played d6. I spent 10 minutes on that, and it was not necessary. I could have defended with bishop takes, knight takes, or rook c8, and it did not deserve a 10-minute think. Secondly, and this was surprising, and this is something I can walk away and learn from in the future. Just surprising. This is +2. Queen takes f6 is +2, just because this allows rook c1, and the rook gets really active, and our pieces are very awkward here. So yeah, my instinct was, or maybe it wasn't my instinct, but I had some sense that maybe I should take with the pawn, just because my queen does get distracted on this other side of the board and detached. So I should have listened to my thoughts a little bit more on that. But then I was holding fine here. Like some of these moves weren't perfect that I played, but I was holding here. This was the third mistake. This was an opportunity. My opponent blundered here, and I would have been winning had I taken on e4. And I had 7 minutes. I should have invested a little bit more time into it, because had I done so and played the move, I probably would have won the game. So a few lessons to be learned from that game. Yeah, so that is round 2 from the tournament. I'm not going to record any more videos today because my voice is kind of shot, or starting to get strained. I'll have round 3 up in soon. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.